Join me today as we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming X-Men 97 cartoon and Morph. Welcome to the Geek Cabal channel. My name's Bob, and yeah, it's like the fourth time I've tried to record this video. I keep meandering off onto side topics and getting irrationally upset at both sides of the situation. So I'm going to try to just stick to my beliefs and the facts at hand, and we'll see where we go. So here goes attempt number 4. Also apologize, like driving at the moment, as you can clearly see, the sun's casting down, so it's not gonna be the greatest like image here. So anyway, first things first, for those of you who don't know, according to one of the creators, in the upcoming X-Men 97 cartoon, the character Morph is apparently going to be non-binary. And I'm going to save you watching the next 10 some odd minutes of video. If you just want to cut to the chase, I don't care. It doesn't affect me in any meaningful way. So, you know, if you're looking for controversy, I'm sorry it's not here. And if you came to expect that from my comments, from mine and Jim's comments on some other things, where we talk about like race and gender swapping, like, I'm not fans of those things. I think it's generally stupid when they do it. I think there's better ways to have representation, which again, as I've stated repeatedly, I believe is a worthwhile goal. But, like, to me, the big thing is, does this character have, you know, presumably lengthy comic book histories? It's usually comic books what we're talking about. Well, let's say a literary history, which will include comic books. And if so, is the current adaptation true to that or not? Well, Morph's a somewhat unique situation. He existed for all of, like, I don't know, it's something like 7 or 8 episodes of the cartoon. Like, I believe he was killed in the first episode. And then you find a spoiler alert for a cartoon from the 90s, by the way, which you had ample time to watch, which you should be watching if you're going to watch the new one, because it literally picks up where the last one stops, just in case the preview we talked about didn't give that away. So, and then you find out later that Mr. Sinister brought him back to life, or he wasn't actually dead, or whatever. The point is, Mr. Sinister screwed around with him, used him against the X-Men, and then he comes back, you know, for a little bit, and that's it. So this is not some time-honored, beloved character with decades and decades of comic book history. If they want to make him non-binary, I don't care. Okay? Like, we don't really, this isn't like the Iceman situation, where we have decades of his internal thoughts that we know damn good and well he was attracted to women. Like, he talked about them to himself constantly. So, this isn't like that, okay? We have no idea where Morph fell on anything like that, you know? So, could he be non-binary? Sure, could have been non-binary. Could have been non-binary the whole time. All right? And again, who cares? This is a cartoon that is potentially still aimed at kids, so I doubt, and that this is me potentially being just stupidly naive here, because Disney doesn't have the greatest track record of being subtle about these things. Let's just say that I suspect that this is not going to be some major plot point, because apparently there's going to be like 10 episodes. Now, if you're trying to revive something from 2.5 decades ago, that, you know, you're trying to get the people who used to watch it to be interested in it, to get them back, because because your sales all across the board are falling, and you've got 10 episodes to win them over, are you really going to burn one of them talking about the sexual preferences of a big character? Like, could that happen? Absolutely. And Disney will be insane to do that. But I just don't think it's going to happen. I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'll say so, you know. But that's why that's why I don't care. I think it's going to be, Morph's going to make a handful of comments, might make a pass at Wolverine, and that's it. Like, that, I think that's really going to be all of it. I think this is probably just one of the people who created it just spouting off, trying to get the people that they would prefer to watch it into it. At least that's, you know, that's my take on where things are probably going to go. Now, and if it's a full episode, like, well, I'll see how it plays out. Maybe it's not stupid. You know, I'm not trying to. I don't want to prejudge this just purely because we have a character who is purported to be non-binary, and that's the other part I want to talk about. Is that this is the part where all my other attempts have just completely gone off the rails. So here goes. George R.R. Martin recently, well, as of the first time I tried to record this was probably about a month ago now, recently released I don't remember if it was a tweet or what it was exactly, where he was talking about what he labeled as anti-fans. These are people who seem to, instead of like actively cheering for things, seem to prefer to actively hate things, yet continue to keep talking about them. So now, first and foremost, at the very least in most Western countries, you have the right to complain. I don't want to at all say, oh, you shouldn't make YouTube videos about things you don't like. No, you go for it. Like, not that you need my permission, but if somehow I'm, you know, you're looking for me as the arbiter of this kind of thing, which you shouldn't. But if you are, like, yeah, go for it. I talk about things I don't like. I mean, I despise the Star Wars sequel trilogy. But I talk about it. I try not to, because I know I'm going to go off on a rant. And I'm saving that for some video down the road where I really am just going to explode and lay into it. Intentionally, though. So, I mean, I personally don't view it as the most constructive thing to do, but at the same time, I think a number of people that go into these things, and I know for myself personally, I'm coming at it from a place of, I want this thing to be better, and it will never be better if people don't let it be known that the current iteration is bad. And, well, you know, you've got to get it out there, and you're competing with people that are sycophants for God only knows what reason. I mean, I'm sure some of them are literally paid shills, but some of them I don't get it. Like, I cannot put myself into the mindset of someone that actually enjoys the Star Wars sequel trilogy. I just can't. It's not just that they're a bad set of sequels to some of the greatest movies of all time. They're just bad movies. Like, I genuinely don't understand how someone can think they're good movies. The Force Awakens gets a bit of a pass because, barring it being the movie that follows Return of the Jedi, it's a passable movie. It's okay, you know. There are parts of it that are still sketchy, but I can see where people would like that one. The problem is 2 and 3 are if you could have a rolling train wreck of multiple trains hitting each other and just rolling along and colliding with another such train wreck, that's like the level that it's a train wreck of train wrecks. Like, that's how bad those two movies are. And yeah, like, there's you know, I'm gonna take up Jim's challenge, and we're gonna rewatch The Last Jedi. I'm gonna see if I can actually find redeeming qualities. I know there's a handful, but not enough to salvage the movie. Okay, but anyway, I'm off on a tangent here. See, there we go. That's why I don't like talking about the Star Wars sequels. So there are people, though, that go beyond that seem to actively champion the destruction of some of these things. And again, that could be because they want it to fail so someone else will get a hold of it who will hopefully do it justice. And if that's the goal, I can sympathize, because like for a long time, I actually kind of hoped Disney would buy Fox to get the rights to the X-Men back, so all of Marvel would finally be under one roof, or Spider-Man, which is a big, thing, but if you've got 95% of the rest of it, you can get by without Spider-Man. However, in the years since, I've seen the downsides to that train of thought and realized that maybe I shouldn't have wanted that to happen, because we're probably never going to see how Ridley Scott wanted to finish his Alien movies. Who knows what's going to happen with the Predator franchise, and now both of those comics are under Marvel, who will feel no obligation at all to follow up a lot of the excellent work Dark Horse Comics did. So, and same thing with Star Wars moving back to Marvel. The Dark Horse comics are superior to whatever crap Marvel's putting out. And Disney tried to fool everyone with that whole, we'll honor the comics. Like, they're already not. Like, no one cares what happened to the comics. No one at Disney, anyway. So, there are people out there, though, that I think are so entrenched in this mindset, like, their bread and butter is the rage clicks. And those people, yeah, they can be entertaining, and I can name a few of them, and I'm not, again, I'm not trying to be critical of them, that's their thing, if they're making money or whatever from it, go for it. But at the same time, you need to heed the advice of the critical drinker who's sitting there telling you guys, like, look, he doesn't like woke nonsense, but also, you can't just be like, oh, there's a black person in a major role. Clearly that's going to be bad. There's a woman in a leading role. Clearly that's going to be bad. There's a non-binary character in the show. Clearly it's going to be bad. No. I mean, might it be bad? Yes, but it's not going to be bad because of that. Strictly because of that. It'll be bad because that was the focus, maybe, but not just that. So, anyway, that's all I got to say about it. Hit me up in the comments what you guys think. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And hopefully I'll think this video is good enough to actually throw out there. But in the meantime, see you folks later.